Thank you for your interest in Selco's Integrated Rules and Regulations, called R&R. In the first part of this presentation, we will have a look at some issues common to all SAP systems implementing changes and sharing platforms, processes, and services. Companies using SAP as a central instance share many goals. Some common ones include building systems that are optimized to a single shared platform, which eliminates redundancy and conforms to global data standards. Allowing maximum flexibility while remaining compliant. Establishing and maintaining global concepts and strategies without increased cost, effort, or headcount. Achieving continual cost reduction regarding system changes. There are a few more demands we should look at in more detail. Consolidation is a demand which requires careful consideration. Typically, when a company implements SAP, each entity has its own box. Risk potential is low, but maintenance activities must be duplicated for each box. As the company grows, more maintenance is required at an ever-increasing cost. Consolidating all entities into one box, and eventually into one instance, and even one client, is an effective way to start to lower costs, but it also brings increased risk. In addition to consolidation, effective change management is essential to any successful SAP system. Every company has a complicated web of laws, business requirements, system limitations, concepts, and guidelines. One of the most complex problems a business has is the coordination and management of these variables. Manual alignment between the business processes and the implemented technology is always required. Content checking is also of primary importance in today's world. Normally, managing SAP transport orders requires hiring highly paid experts to carefully monitor changes. This not only slows business down, but costs money. Furthermore, in many cases there isn't enough time to check each transport order manually. This results in some transports slipping through without being checked, and others contradicting one another. In this second part of the presentation, we will have a look at the concept of R&R. The first principle on which R&R is based is sharing. For example, you would like to use one central SAP system for all of your entities, each of which works at different times. Let's have a look at how your SAP system should look. You will have entities. These entities could be a company, a cost center, a module, a country, or any other logical unit coming out of your business. There will also be a shared area that is used by all entities. Global reporting, customizing, controlling, organizational management, and system setup are just a few processes that take place within your shared area. The main question is, how are you going to control this setup in your SAP system? That's where R&R comes in. This area is called the federal area. R&R manages changes within each federal area. These changes don't represent a threat to the integrity of the other entities or to the shared area. Changes within a federal area will not interrupt any change management process. Developers working in a federal area won't even notice that R&R is analyzing their changes. However, when a developer implements a change that crosses a border, R&R will guide them to obtain approval from the appropriate person. This share concept minimizes the potential for collisions. However, this is only the first principle of R&R. In order to check how a change will be carried out, it is also necessary to check the contents of transport orders. SAP provides some tools in the customizing environment which allow you to set up your system to perform entity border checks. For example, the system clients, country and company codes, authorization roles. These tools are not sufficient to meet the demands of today's businesses, as they always require manual effort and can be easily bypassed. In the workbench area, which means reports and transactions, self-developed or SAP standard, there are no standard SAP tools designed to check entity borders. R&R provides the ability to perform border checks in both areas. The first two principles, sharing and content checking, are rounded out by the final principle, integration into your change management system. The main task of a change management system is to ensure that your company processes are followed. This includes checking transport orders, but it does not include checking the contents of those transport orders. As discussed earlier, the alignment between your process demands and the system changes they require is important. R&R is not a change management system. Rather, it works in combination with and supports your existing change management system, whether it be SAP Standard Solution Manager or any other. The common ground between the two tools is the transport orders. Your Solution Manager checks the orders, and R&R simultaneously checks the content of each order. Let's summarize these principles. R&R will teach your system to share safely and effectively. It will also enable your system to check the contents of each transport order. And finally, R&R will integrate into your existing change management system. Let's have a look at an HR system where R&R has been successfully implemented since 2003. In 2001, Syngenta AG decided to use SAP to implement its Global Personnel System, GPS. The aim was all-in-one, one system, one instance, and one client. In the beginning, the implementation was done in the larger countries one by one. In 2002, Switzerland and the UK. In 2003, Germany, Austria, and France. And in 2004, the Netherlands and Belgium. By 2003, Syngenta had realized that implementing each country individually was taking longer than they had hoped. It was clear that without a change management system and adequate quality control, they would not be able to continue the project. The costs and resources would have been unmanageable. The R&R concept was born of this need. Once R&R was in place and activated, Syngenta was able to implement almost all other countries. 2005 was a remarkable year in terms of the volume of projects. There were 3 full system replacements. 70 countries in a row were implemented called GPS Lite, and parallel in the background, a system upgrade and a Unicode migration were carried out, and all of these projects were carried out in one system and one client. Since then, GPS integration has continued with global processes like compensation and benefit, employee and manager self-service, and talent management. Italy, Canada, Mexico, and the US have also been implemented. Please notice that in each of the countries marked with a flag, the existing system was replaced and the payroll run was moved into GPS. As you can see, this is a true global system with very interesting elements. Let's have a closer look at a few of the technical details to give you an idea of the volume of Syngenta's global personnel system. Syngenta's GPS consists of 83,000 employee records, 31,500 of which are active employees. There are 92 countries, and in 13 of those countries, the local system was completely replaced. 11,500 reports were customized, along with 3,500 tables. There are 13,500 users whose access is managed by 1,100 authorization roles. In the area of system changes and logical access, Syngenta's global personnel system has achieved a 100% Sarbanes-Oxley compliance. It is also worth mentioning that despite the enormous volume of this system, this was a paperless audit which required only 1 hour. Given the size of Syngenta's system, it was useful to collaborate with a list of trusted providers. By the way, GPS is updated every 15 minutes and they have never missed a payroll. Here you can see the number of transports per year that took place within GPS. As mentioned earlier, while typical change management systems ensure that each transport itself is checked, the objects contained within those transports are not checked. This is not sufficient to ensure data safety, as is demonstrated by looking at the number of objects contained within those transports. Checking orders without checking their contents clearly leaves a lot of room for error. Further, let's add in now the amount of customizing that has been transported at Syngenta per year. There is an average of 100 customizing entries per transport. At this scale, it is clear that checking only transports is ineffective. Based on these facts and on Selco's experience, we will now consider the purpose of R&R. Using R&R to support your change management process doesn't mean reworking your existing process. The process will still work as it is set up to, excluding the export of transport orders. It is the implementation phase of change that will be affected. In addition, with R&R, there are some features included which you may choose to take advantage of to support your existing change management process. Preview and planning can be used to ensure that you are compliant before your planned developments are implemented. Precautionary check can automatically check your changes before they are assigned to a transport order. Standard audit and extended check can provide further opportunity to obtain required export approval. And the R&R Control Center will enable you to manage all of these features centrally. Implementing R&R to automate the majority of your system's checks provides a further benefit in that it will dramatically reduce the time, effort, and therefore resources required. R&R will ensure that the approval process for all of your transports is maximally automated. Regular checks will be executed and you will only be informed when manual involvement is required. Let's summarize the benefits of R&R. Your company's existing change management process is not impacted. R&R allows for planning prior to implementation. R&R also enables you to check during implementation. Your rules are stored once and are applied to the entire change process. Existing rules are obeyed and cannot be bypassed. All developers are guided during their changes in the same way. In short, by choosing Selco's integrated rules and regulations, you will achieve a 100% optimized quality check for your SAP system. Your system, your rules. We thank you for your interest in Selco's integrated rules and regulations and look forward to working with you.